So we are not winning the war yet. There is a tremendous amount of things that need to be done, but I hope that my extradition case, my extradition battle to the United States will shine light on the terrible inhumanity and cruelty. Don't think that I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. I worry about my friend Michelle, that she should be extradited to a cruel fate in the United States, and I think that is terrible, and I'm sad about that. I hope you'll do something about that. I hope you'll do something about Greg Williams, who merely my friend who served at a counter selling seeds to people as they walked in the store. A common enough occurrence throughout Canada for many years now. He's facing extradition to the United States to a very cruel fate too. But make no mistake, I have always been the guiding light, the mastermind, if you will. The manifesto is clear. I've always been very transparent in all my interviews to Time Magazine, The Economist, to CNN, to the Wall Street Journal, who 10 years ago articulated my manifesto right then. We would sell seeds, we would earn this money, we would give this money out to political organizations, rallies, organizations, advocacy, ballot initiatives all over the world, and we would overgrow the marijuana prohibition that is cruelly torturing us all. So there is no argument as to the evidence. I have done these things, and I will admit to all of them. I'm proud to admit to them. My 11-year legacy and career as an activist is completely out in the open. I have admitted it on Pot TV, in my magazine. I appealed to you for money on the basis that I would take your money to foment peaceful, enlightened, human rights change around the world to liberate the cannabis people, and I have kept faith with you. I will never renounce that. I will never sell out for any day extra off my sentence. I will never renounce my goals, objectives, and the things that I have tried to do, and that I will still continue to do. My father, God bless his soul, most wonderful man. See, I'm so lucky. I am not upset. I need your help for legal fees. I need your help to keep my friends Michelle and Greg from being extradited. I need your help in making marijuana legal in both the United States and Canada so that this never happens to anyone. But do not think that I am afraid. This is my destiny. I was always being led to this moment in time when I had that perfect frozen moment in Halifax in Nova Scotia when I was surrounded by 10 police officers, and the police officer read that warrant, Marc Emery, you're under arrest for extradition to the United States. I felt then finally that my destiny had come full circle, that everything I have done for 25 years as an activist, everything I've done for 15 years as a cannabis activist, all the millions of dollars I've spent, all the things I've done were come to that perfect moment when I heard the United States wanted to extradite me. So now the shoe has dropped. Now the Goliath, now the evil empire has finally made its move on me, and now I can confront the enemy face to face. I am not afraid. I hope you have always thought that I articulated the values of our community well, and that I represented you in your heart, the values that you believe in, and that you would like to see espoused, and that I have always given credibility and honor and dignity to our movement. And that those are the sort of things you could see me, Marc Emery, and say, he's the guy. He's our leader. He's the person that's always articulated what I believe should be the world we seek. I'll be talking to you again more in the future, but I want you to know that I am not afraid, that we persevere to make everything continue on, that cannabis culture will survive, Pot TV will survive, the BC Marijuana Party will survive, the BCM bookstore, BCM people is surviving and will survive. You must help. You must make that contribution. You must contribute money to our legal fees because we will use this to articulate the values of our struggle. I will not deny anything. I sold millions of seeds. I wanted to overgrow the government. I wanted people around the world to be able to be self-sufficient in marijuana. I wanted everybody who has a critical illness from multiple sclerosis to cancer to AIDS wasting syndrome and all the other terrible ailments that I've seen people crippled up with in their life. I wanted to provide them with marijuana so that they could be self-sufficient. I wanted people who to see the enlightenment that I have seen on marijuana. My life has only been greatly enhanced. With marijuana, I was a better parent. I was a better lover. I was a better business person. I was a more creative and thoughtful person. I have aged properly. I have less anger now. I have more understanding. I realize all the things that were difficult in my life were all meant to happen to me, to teach me things so that I could go to this next level and represent you under these terrible conditions of duress that I find myself. I have been giving interviews with the New York Times, with all the Canadian national media, and I will be doing radio interviews every day. I will be talking to television every day. I will be receiving your letters and your words of support every day. I am not reducing the amount of energy and commitment and devotion I put to this movement. I will be doubling that effort. And I am not afraid to go to jail, though if it were possible not to go to jail, I would certainly appreciate that. But my destiny, if it lies in going to jail, I will willingly accept. I have no complaints to make. I am not fighting this for my own sake. I am fighting it for the same reason I always gave up of everything I ever had. I never owned a car in British Columbia. I never owned any property. I never lived lavishly. I never traveled. I haven't left the country in 8 years. I didn't own any kind of toys or any kind of electronic equipment. I never felt like the need for material goods. I was an odd Ayn Rand through Zen Buddhism kind of mixture, and I hope I have accredited you and our movement well. I will welcome your feedback, but do not misunderstand me. This is the most critical time in this movement, in my life, in my career, for my friends, for the BCMP, and all the wonderful things that have emanated from here. We gave $4.5 million to movements all over the world, and you, many of you, know many of those people I've given that money to. Not only that, everyone was complicit in Canada. I would like to reiterate that everyone knew what I was doing, from members of Parliament. In fact, Sven Robinson, a former member of Parliament, called me today to say that when he was the health critic for the NDP in Parliament, year after year, when people said, well, where do I get medical marijuana seeds? He said Health Canada told him that people can buy them on the internet. They can buy them from Marc Emery. He said that's what he was told to tell people. When Jack Layton, the leader of the New Democratic Party, came to my home 18 months ago, his people had checked out, and if I was just merely a drug dealer, they would never let him near me. And he came into my home, and he made an interview that is famous on Pot TV, where he called marijuana a wonderful substance and urged us to support him. And I'd still urge you to support Jack Layton, the New Democratic Party, and especially in the critical and upcoming federal election. Every member of Parliament for the last 10 years has received a subscription to Cannabis Culture magazine, and many of their assistants read this magazine and knew of its contents and were well aware we were selling seeds. Senator Pierre Claude Nolan invited me to testify to the Senate in 1996 and 2002, and he knew full well what I was doing, and nobody ever complained. The Canadian Revenue Agency, the tax collecting agency, knew for all the time I ever earned money, I paid them just under $600,000 in personal income taxes from 1999 to 2005, and it was very explicitly from the proceeds of marijuana seed sales. The Canadian federal government knows full well what I've been doing and has been grateful to take the money, the proceeds of crime, as it were. I laundered that money to my children, my spouses, and especially the government of Canada, who received far more than I ever kept personally myself. The government of British Columbia received hundreds of thousands of dollars in the same way. Leaders of political parties knew what I was doing. Health critics knew what I was doing. The government at every level knew what I was doing. The police knew what I was doing. No one ever came by to complain or criticize. And furthermore, I gave speeches before two former prime ministers, John Turner and Kim Campbell, at the same stage that they were on. And they heard me talk about that I sell millions of marijuana seeds and use all this money to help provide a peaceful, democratic revolution for change to liberate our people. Everyone in Canada, from every radio station to every newspaper to every editorialist to every politician, to at all levels, from the Mayor of Vancouver to the City Council of Vancouver, everyone knew what was going on. And everyone, because they thought I was a decent person, was willing to let it continue.